fantasy sports coaches, welcome back to GameDay Squad's YouTube channel. We are here to do a review of the AFLW for round 7, and I'm joined in my trusty co-host in Bailey and Jaiden. We're going to be looking at a player's perspective. We're going to be looking at a player's performance from a fantasy perspective and other little breakdowns to help you all get game day ready. Fellas, are we ready to talk some footy this week?
Yeah, Tom, great to be here, and yeah, another big week in the AFLW fantasy world.
Yeah, good to be here, Tom. As always, Jaiden, hope we're all doing well. Not a great week for me, unfortunately, last week, even though it was still ranked 31st for the week, but 1847, I look at my side, and there's not too many issues there. It was like Hannah Priest was the only one having a gold, was one that probably stung. But out of the team, I'm just counting up here, side 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hundreds out of my side, and yet I still was about 200 points off of the first place. So not great looking at that, but that puts me in the overall rank. I think I'm exactly 20th now, so I was up to 18th a little bit. I think I got up to as high as 16th, and now back to 20th again for the week. So not too great. Well, it's good. I just want to be near top 10, so that's probably why I'm a little bit sad. But oh well, we'll push through anyway.
Yeah, we'll get through, mate. Not long left of the season, so it's really like it's coming down to that money end of the year. It's do or die. But Jaiden, mate, how you going? And how'd you go this week?
Yeah, 1658 for me. I missed that one of my players was a late out on the weekend. That was Laura Elliott from Hawthorn, so I completely missed that and went back in, and yeah, I definitely would have swapped her out. So that's a bit disappointing, but yeah, again, I said this a couple of weeks ago, but I feel like the players that I'm investing salary into, the players I'm playing as golds, playing as silvers, sometimes they're not quite going as well as what my bronze cards are. So it's impossible to get a massive score when things like that happen. And yeah, a bunch of low scores as well. So Hannah Priest and but overall I'm feeling pretty happy. I've got some nice players off the transfer market over the last couple of weeks. So in terms of the how my squad looks, I'm feeling a bit happier.
Good man, excellent. And for me this week, 1909 for total score. That ranks me at 21st for the round, 15th for the season. I was also a little bit off. I had Priest like everyone else. I also played Morfitt. And other than that, I played Emily Bates as well. And that was a killer for me in the midfield. So honestly, if I didn't play that, I probably would be top 20 lock. If not, maybe push the top 10. But let's go find out what the scores were, fellas. These are the best of the best for the week. And as you can see, 2,097 points to take out Classic and 2,535 points to take out our champion competition. Very, very hot round. What is your thoughts on this?
I'm sick of looking at the teams at the top because I want to be at the top. I haven't been able to crack a top 10 finish all season. I've seen plenty of these names before, like Ocoa Park FC, I reckon, finishes first most weeks, which they clearly have got they must have a crystal ball or something because they must know who's going to score well each week. But no, they're having a very good year, so congrats to them. And yeah, there's a few names I've seen there a few times as well. So yeah, hopefully I can finish top 10 at least once before the end of the season. But with teams out screaming by 200 points when I think my team's decent, I'm not sure if I'll be able to close that gap. So.
Yeah, and looking at the champion leaderboard, I think, there's some massive scores, and part of that is probably because we saw the top 3 scorers for the week, Garner, Riddell and Marinoff, just getting it done again. It's those top teams, they already have those players, probably in diamonds. That's what you get for having the best in the comp, so well done to those teams.
Well, we'll move it on to our first segment of player analysis. This is called the Emojtrix. We just do player analysis, but put a little spin on it. And what we do is assign emojis based upon performance. And we're going to start it off, as we always do, the fire emoji or the performance that was lit this round. And for me, it's going to Jasmine Garner. I don't know how many times I've voted for her in this segment, but it's been a lot. A goal, 24 kicks, 15 handballs, 167 fantasy points. Say less from her. She's just killing it this year.
Yeah, well, I'm going to go another one of the very, very top players, and she gets it done every week. She's one of my Crow girls. It's Ebony Marinoff, 132 again. She had not a slow start, but Hatchard had a massive first half, and Marinoff was doing her thing. I think she was on about 60 odd at half time, which is sort of about stock standard for Noffy. But then in the second half, she went massive. So yeah, she's definitely got to get the fire emoji for the week because she just gets it done. She's a walking 120 pretty much every week. Her and Garner are pretty similar. They're walking 120s, and that's why they're captain options every week. But if you do like the other formats, captains will be a bit more difficult with them. Got tough matchups. But anyway, that's for another discussion. But yeah, Noffy gets mine.
Yeah, I do own a Garner, so I was tempted to give it to her, but we'll change it up. I'm going to go Ash Riddell. Now, I'm a big owner in other formats. I don't, unfortunately, have a Riddell card, so it is tough watching. But, yeah, I was really happy that after, I don't know, maybe starting the first 10 minutes of the game on the bench, she just came on and just went bang. And she was the highest scorer, like, by half time. Like, it was amazing. So she ended up with 163 base GameDay squad points. So yeah, like I said, those champion teams that have her with the multipliers, that's where the big scores are coming from.
Love it, and well deserving for all three of those players. Let's move it on. A little bit different. This is a stock down emoji, a disappointing performance for the round, and this has been, the talk of the town. I think since the round has wrapped up, it's going to Hannah Priest for me. 3 kicks, 4 tackles, 33 fantasy points. She looked like she was a lock for the number 1 defender spot for the season. And after this round, I don't know, some heads are being shaken, some coaches are nice and rattled. So yeah, that's my stock down for the week.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much a unanimous one, I reckon. That Hannah Priest would be the stocks down one of the weeks, the sort of the big one. But I will go a different one. I think for me, stocks down. I'm trying to think because Priest was mine as well. I'm going to go one that I've used a couple of weeks. I didn't put her in my GameDay squad last week, but Abby Dowrick, who she had some good fixtures to come. She went okay last week with she went over 100 points in GameDay squad, which is fine. But this week she was back under 100 points. Only scored the 71 fantasy points. I'm not sure exactly how many GameDay squad points she scored, but yeah, not quite what owners would hope for. So I think if you did have her in your side, you've probably got other players like the Blackburns and that have got the high ceiling. So I think you've probably got to replace Derek this week.
Yeah, obviously Priest is the big one, and if anyone was watching that game, you would have just seen her sitting on the half-back flank, just sitting there waiting, not waiting actually, she was standing right next to her opponent. So, it was pretty tough to watch. But I'm gonna go different as well. We'll go Ali Morfitt for me. 71 GameDay squad points. It's pretty harsh marking, but yeah, maybe just stocks down for a little bit. And the reasoning behind this is now around the numbers from a CBA point of view. Morfitt, she's had 80, 90%, 100% last week, and it's down to 58% this week. So that was quite a surprise to me. I couldn't quite believe it when I saw it. That's because the ruck, shared around a little bit. I think it was Alexia Hamilton and Alice Mitchell got the rest of the ruck time. So, yeah, just a little bit of a flag there. If she's not going to be playing that number one ruck role consistently, I mean, she was number 1, but she doesn't want to be sharing it. So that stocks down for me, and we'll see if it continues.
That's tough to hear. If we can't win games as the Swans, at least give us some fantasy upside.
That's right. You got Laura Gardner. She's going well.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. Let's move it on. Rocket emoji, exploding performance for the round. Mine's going to someone that we haven't spoken about in a while, and I'm glad to finally bring her name back up. It's Ella Roberts, the forward for West Coast Eagles. She had a fantastic round. 13 kicks, 5 marks, 5 tackles, 115 GameDay squad fantasy points. I'll be talking about her a little bit later on, but yeah, awesome work. Good to see her back in the list.
That's now back-to-back seasons that she's actually gone really well against Melbourne, which is surprising of how restricted Melbourne are. But I'm glad you didn't take mine, Tom. I was worried that you were going to take my exploding performance for the round. She's been one of my favourites this year. I was going to start with her. I didn't. I brought her in official. I don't have her in GameDay squad yet. I wish I did. Charlotte, Thomas. Like, she has been dominating since round one. Round one was an anomaly. We can see that now. I think she got injured. She was off for a bit. But since then, she's been fantastic. Essentially going up in terms of scoring each week. And this was the biggest score of the season for her. Second highest score by defender, I believe, as well, across all the formats. So, yeah, if you can get your hands on her, you need to put her in your side because she is going fantastic, especially with West Coast struggling as well.
Yeah, and that struggle is what helped her a lot. 10 kick-ins on the weekend, so that's an extra 40 GameDay squad points. For me, I'll give my exploding performance of the round to. Now, I did write her off a couple of weeks ago, but I was scared about a Brisbane matchup. She's absolutely back now, and that's Britt Bonici. I benched her, and she pumps out 146. So that's her season high by a fair way, and it shows that she has the potential to be one of these top 5 mids that we could play in our team each week. And it's also just come through that Carlton are, really easy matchup for mids. So, that's something to keep an eye on, and Bonici certainly made the most of it.
Yeah, she did play really great this round. I think I'll be touching on her as well a little bit later as well. That's how good she did play. Let's move it on. The last one, Moneybag Emoji. This is someone to buy now before their price goes through the roof. And it's probably a little bit too late to buy now in official formats, but especially in GameDay squad. Belinda Smith. She's like a budget Charlotte Thomas, let's call it. She's been doing really, really well. And it's just flying under the radar because of how good Thomas has been. This round was an off week for her, and she still managed 78 fantasy points, 9 kicks, 6 marks, 5 tackles. The past couple of weeks before that, she's been hitting nearly triple digits in those games. So I've loved what I've seen from her. And if you need a pod player, someone a little bit different to add into your defending group, Belinda Smith is a perfect option for that.
Yep, for me, for my Moneybag Emoji, I'm going to go, I think she's been underappreciated. I know, Tom, me and you been talking her up all season for Geelong. Chantel Edmondson, she's just getting it done. I feel that she's not going to be cheap, but I feel like she's still undervalued in terms of people don't talk about her with the Hannah Priest before last week, the Emma Carney, Charlotte Thomases, Ola Sheerans, like those defenders at the top. I don't think we're talking about Edmondson as much, but she's definitely up there taking every kick in for Geelong when they get it. So she's getting a base of points, and we know that GameDay squad kicks you get the extra points. So for me, Chantel Edmondson, if you can get her a little bit cheaper, I think it would be a very astute bit of business.
Yeah, and for me, it's kind of a little bit of a watch, but we saw in the Carlton-Collingwood game that Jess Good went off with an ankle injury, so that means we could see the very best of Brianne Moody return as number 1 ruck. She scored 89 on the weekend. I did have a scroll through the market, and her price is, it's pretty up there because she was the best ruck last season. But, if you can pick one up, maybe facilitate a trade, you could get her for what she's, lower than what she should do for the rest of the year as potentially a solo ruck, but make sure you watch the injury list for that.
Love that point. Yeah, she could explode in production. Let's move it on. We're going to go rogue, pick 2 random emojis, assign them to players. I'll start it off with Zali Goldsworthy. She's averaging 88.7 fantasy points over the season, but she's 18 years old, and it's been the best signing for GWS. It's been the best signing GWS could have asked for and more. In a season where winning's been tough for the Giants and fantasy points are scarce, Goldsworthy has broken away from that norm, dominating in the forward line for her Giants. Her tackle pressure is just up there with some of the best. She's so versatile. She can play anywhere around the ground, and that's going to ensure that she's going to be a top fantasy option for many years to come. And for me, she's shot straight up to the top of my dynasty rankings for AFLW. I have loved what I've seen from Zali Goldsworthy this year, and I don't think I'm gassing her up too much. I think that is well-deserved. Another one, stock up emoji. We do stock down. What about some good light? Ali Dalloway. She had a fantastic season last year, was climbing up the ranks. It's a bit tough, though, in the midfield with the likes of Garner and how high you need to score. But as a dynasty option, she looked really good. But to start off this season, she has struggled like many other Giants this year. Just the play style that they've adopted has led to a serious decline in fantasy production, and Ali, unfortunately, was one of those that has seen that. But in back-to-back weeks, we've seen her highest fantasy output for the season so far. She's not startable yet by any means, but is trending in the right direction, and as I mentioned, is a good dynasty stash away. So keep an eye on those two players from the Giants. Love what I've seen.
Yep, my two emojis. I'm going to go the first one quickly because Jaiden already mentioned her a little bit, but the eyes emoji is around the Carlton Ruck situation, because if we get word that Jess Good is out for any more than this week, and potentially could be the season because there's not many weeks left, means Brianne Moody becomes a smash play, especially this week against GWS, who are one of the easiest matchups for Ruck. So, Brie Moody, I'd be keeping an eye on that situation. And then, unfortunately, another emoji for another injury. The ambulance emoji comes out for Elise Parker, who's now been ruled out for the season, unfortunately. So that also brings in another one, sort of the thinking emoji, where you can think about Alicia Eva. You've got Yazali Goldsworthy's, Nicola Bars. I think Barr and Goldsworthy are going to be in a lot of people's sides. But with Carlton this week, Alicia Eva could be a smoky play this week.
Callaway gets a bit more minutes, eh?
Potentially, yep. I hope I haven't stolen any of Jane's pop-out picks, if one of them was that. But yeah, they're my two emojis, the Emojtrix ones.
No worries, Bales. The pop-out picks are locked in already, so no changing those. But yeah, you guys brought it all together there. The easy matchup against Carlton, all the GOS mids, Parker's out, so it looks really good. For mine, I'm going to go with a red cross emoji, because at the time of recording, Maddie Prasparkas has been suspended for 1 week. She's appealing that, so we'll wait to see what happens there. But if you can, maybe get her cheap, she's got Carlton the week after. And if she does get off, it is West Coast this week. So those are two great matchups. Even if she doesn't get off this week, you want to hold on to her or potentially get one while she's, not at the forefront of people's minds. So potentially you get one for that Carlton matchup. And this is, I just want to give out like an angel emoji, because she just keeps coming back. Like, there's injuries, blood rule, every week something happens, and then she just keeps coming back and going bigger and better. And that's Bree Davey, 137 on the weekend, and yeah, that's her biggest score of the year, and certainly, back into some form, and yeah, playing against Carlton, so it's not that unexpected, but yeah, it's certainly one you want to consider to play. So I'll give her an angel emoji, because no matter what's thrown at her, she just keeps coming back and she's fine.
Oh, good. It is time for my bronze squad. What I do here in Bronze Squadron represent, firstly, the goal of this segment is to prove to everyone that you can win Game Day Squad's weekly competition with a squad full of bronze cards. So let's dive into this week of AFLW action and see how the bronze squad would have matched up against our Game Day Squad competitors. This week, it was feast or famine in the league. Either some top-name players excelled, played excellent, and you're sitting there, licking your lips thinking, how good was that? Or it wasn't too good. The people who played the likes of Priest, a couple other people as well. But our bronze squad got to 2,194 fantasy points, which is quite large. I want to give you and take you through some takeaways, but before that, would have been enough to win the Classic competition, and it would have ranked 12th place in our champion competition. But the takeaways from this are, this week was the highest scoring round for defenders all season long. So the top 6 of defenders exploded, others weren't so great. This week was the second time that Bonnie Too Good has missed the forwards for the season. She's been Mrs. Consistent, but only twice she's missed out. Once was this round, and she wasn't far off the mark, in all honesty. So it's not like she had a shocker, just couldn't crack the top 6. Laura Gardiner remains the only player to feature in the bronze squad weekly. She has had a historic season in terms of fantasy output, playing as a forward, and she just seems to be an absolute lock for your forward 1 spot. Just set and forget, irrespective of matchups. Just fantastic work from her. And the midfield remains the hardest and most important position to nail in fantasy. This past round was the second highest scoring output for mids this season as well. So mids and defenders exploded this week. Other positions weren't so hot. So there we have it. That wraps us up for our bronze squad. Another great week for them, but we'll move it on. Bales, mate, you're going to take it away as the transfer market master.
Yeah. I'm gonna keep doing the buy, hold, or sell. I just like that format. So with the transfer market master that I am, I've gone out and I've picked a couple of players that we may be looking at. So obviously get your opinions on both of them. So the first one is going to be the big name we mentioned here, Emojtrix, and we're talking about Tom, Hannah Priest. What are we doing? Is she going to go back in the midfield because a few defenders are out? Is she going to stay in defence? So are you buying, which probably not likely, are you holding, hoping that she goes back mids, or are you selling and just getting off the train completely?
I am holding but benching, if that makes sense. When she plays her midfield role, like, she is just undoubtedly one of the best defenders in the competition to play in terms of fantasy. She gets plenty of CBAs, gets her hands in the ball. She's in the middle of the ground where the ball's going to be most of the time, where you're going to be able to have an opportunity to score big. But when she's playing as lockdown defender and isn't looking for the ball, isn't being used in transition, kick-outs, anything like that, I think it's time to hit the brakes a little bit on the Priest train. It was a great ride whilst it lasted, but it's time to bench her, look for some other options because, I'm really scared for what her role looks like moving forward and can't warrant starting her.
Jaiden?
Yeah. So the interesting thing is, like, she's the number one Saints player for CBAs prior to this week, and then she had none at all. So massive role change. I don't know. If you could sell her, I think if you could get something decent back, you could go for it and just take the risk that she's going to play in defence for the rest of the year because, St Kilda aren't the most predictable coaching setup in the league.
I can hear Liam.
Yeah. So if you can get a deal for her while her average still looks quite good, you could potentially get a steal if she continues to play in defence. So we'll never really know what's going to happen this week. But if you could get something good in return, I'd be leaning towards sell. She's 31 years old, so not much dynasty potential, and I reckon you could have a go and see what you can get back.
Yeah, I'm personally holding and still going to be playing her on the basis that defenders get named for St Kilda. If those two if a couple of turns they get named, I think you've got to be benching and potentially you could sell. But next player that we're going to go for, she's been killing it last 3 weeks, and so have her teammates, and they've been doing good all year. So Jenna Bruton, Jaiden, can all 3 North Melbourne players continue to put these numbers up? So are you buying, holding, or selling Jenna Bruton?
I don't think they can. I don't think they can continue to have all 3 of them perform as well as they do. Bruton's kind of come in and taken the midfield time off Amy Smith, who's a popular defender. So she's in there. I think the biggest thing to think about is who they've played over the last 2 weeks. So they played against Fremantle and then Port Adelaide, both very good matchups for midfielders. So I don't think I can see all 3 of them continuing to perform. We know Garner's going to stay in there. Riddell's had a bit more time on the bench, and Bruton's there as well. Potentially, I don't know, you might want to sell as well, just to see what value you can get for her as we head into the back end of the year.
Tom?
Sell high, 100%. Couldn't agree more with the last point Jaiden just made. You know that it's a 2-headed monster in there. We would love to have this dream where it's a 3-headed monster. Set and forget all 3 every week, but that's just not how fantasy works. The 2 most fruitful roles are with Garner and Riddell. So if you have a Bruton, sell on the recent form, and if someone wants to pick it up and is willing, you're willing to get an asset in return, I think that's a massive thumbs up for your team.
Yeah, I agree. I'd be selling high as well, because when you look at North Melbourne's sort of next couple of matchups, like this weekend they have Melbourne. That's a pretty tough matchup there. Then they go up against Adelaide, who are an easy matchup for midfielders, but maybe Adelaide don't give 3 midfielders a big score, and then North Melbourne finish off with the Bulldogs, which is an easy matchup. So, but yeah, I'd be saying I can't see all 3 continuing. But shout out to all 3 of them because they're all getting the job done, and yeah, Bruton is doing very, very well. And the final player that we're going to go buy, hold, or sell, I brought in my official side last week. Good dynasty asset, Georgie Prasparkas. So back-to-back sort of low hundreds in game day squad. She got a bit of attention from Olalali last week. Geelong have got a decent run. Collingwood this week have been tough for midfielders, but she's got a pretty good run home. So, Tom, are you buying, holding, or selling Georgie Prasparkas?
But to answer your question, I am buying. I'm definitely buying. I think Georgie Prasparkas, the thing about Game Day Squad, we're a dynasty platform. You keep players from year to year. So irrespective of the next 3 matchups, how tasty they look in the midfield, absolute stud of a player. It's someone that you're going to want to have in your club to make sure that you can play over the next couple of years. Such a good young midfield option. And especially with some recent form where maybe she hasn't been playing as well. I agree with that point. If someone's willing to sell a little bit lower, then that's a bargain in my eyes. So, yeah.
Jaiden?
Buy it up.
Yeah, I agree. I own a Georgie gold card in the midfield. And while it hasn't been the heights of the Marinoffs and Riddell that I do need. Yeah, so I think she's going all right. I'm more interested in what she can do in the future. So it's a hold for me at the moment. And yeah, I mean, she was still like, I think the highest scorer in that match.
Yeah.
So that's something to think about as well. So even in those games where it's not so fantasy friendly, I'm pretty sure it was quite a spread out type of game, not a lot of tackles. I think, if she can still have that as a floor game, just imagine what she can do as a ceiling.
Yeah, exactly right. And me and Tom, we obviously did our Sunday Twitter space round review with Liam from Free Kick. So if you guys don't tune into the Sunday night Twitter space, make sure you do it. It's live on Twitter and on YouTube. Myself and Tom every week going through the round. But yeah, Liam actually said that Geelong were actually one of the highest scoring teams of the week. There were just a lot of players that scored between 96, which is what Georgie scored, and like 55. So there was just a lot of players that end up scoring sort of quite well. So on another day, maybe Georgie has more of a market share and actually goes bigger. So yeah, I'd definitely be buying low on her because a few people might be trading her after a few sort of not weeks like round 1. So perfect. That is Transfer Market Master for round 7.
Done. Wrap it up. Well done, Bales. Always loved that, but it's time to move on to the infamous segment of this show. It is our pop-out picks. Jaiden, mate, take it away this week.
Hang on, before we do, Jaiden, do you remember what your pop-out picks were last week? So I want to see if they went off again, because knowing you, one of them probably did.
Well, the problem is that I've reused some of them. So
okay. Right.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't really, and I feel like Tom has probably been hurt by this, but I did send them to him, and I had Emily Bates in there, and he probably saw that, and he was like, I'm going to play Emily Bates this week. But yeah, we'll get into the pop-out picks. Good. We'll get into pop-out picks now. Tom, you said infamous. I don't think they're famous for the wrong reason. I think they're just flat-out famous at this point. Sarah Verrier is number 1 in defence. I actually picked her up 2 weeks ago, so I was ready to put her in the pop-out picks after I purchased one for 19 cents off the transfer market. Wow. And that's because sneakily she had 47% CBAs a couple of weeks ago. Freo's midfield is absolutely decimated at the moment. They need some new players in there. So she scored an 84 in that game, 73 this week from 41% CBAs, and a defender. So that's pretty valuable. I had her as a silver and she's got an 80, so that's one to keep an eye on. I'm pretty sure you can still get her for under $1 on the market right now if you're looking for one. So getting some midfield time for Freo. They're obviously struggling a little bit in there. And yeah, playing the Saints this week, so another good matchup coming up, averaging 78.5 over the last 2 weeks, so thank you very much, Verrier. We'll move it on now into the ruck. It's Steph Wales. She's been under the radar massively coming into the comp last year as a rookie, and now she's just taken off as a number 1 ruck prospect. She had 33 hit-outs last week, against Gabby Seymour, which is a massive effort. So she
Huge.
scored
I think
100.
I think it's against Poppy Kelly. I think Gab Seymour Liam said she's playing key defence or something like that against Bonnie Toogood.
Well, there you go. That's probably why. But 114 game day squad points, absolutely massive. And if you want to capitalise on that matchup again, she's got West Coast this week. Sarah LeKay out for the year, so she should be able to do well again. She's averaging 96 over the last 4 games, which is amazing. And yeah, maybe that ruck that you might need this week, just to have something a little bit different, with a lot of the others just struggling to, crack that 100 points. So she did, and that's why she was in the bronze squad this week. And we'll go to the forward line. I did have her down last week, and she didn't go that well. But it's Nicola Barr. She's got the best run home out of any team, so you want to have her in your forward line. She's averaging 87 points for the year, 6 tackles, and that's because she's been getting the midfield time in the centre bounce, which has been really good. I actually brought her in another format. Didn't go that well, but I'm pretty confident now. Elise Park has been ruled out, and they play Carlton this week. Best matchup by a long way, so you'll want to get her in your forward line this week. And that'll wrap up the pop-out picks for this week. So good luck, everyone, and I hope they continue to deliver.
Oh, man. Thank you, Jaiden, for taking us through pop-out picks. He's been money with it all year, as Bale's hinted at before. So, yeah, I'd be heading to the transfer market, having a look at some of these players, because whether it's for now or next year, they're going to be good if Jaiden's about them. But let's move it on. We're going to our pack battles. I've loved the little change that we did with this year. Fellas, you're going to vote on which pack is better. So you can take your time once I reveal it, but here we go. If you're struggling as well with it, just let me know, and I can let you know a player, but they're a little bit fuzzy, like the screenshots weren't too hot.
All right, so looking at these ones, if we asked it a week ago, the pack on the left has got a bit of a case with having Elise Parker Diamond there. But the fact that she's now ruled out for the season, I think I'm going for Skip's pack, because if you look at that, gold Laura Gardner and gold Bonnie Toogood, like the 2 best forwards this year, you get in the one pack. Golds, you can put them in your squad straight away, even in the classic comp, because it's not golds aren't too bad to have in your team. So for me, I think that one gets the tip of the cap for me.
Yeah, I agree with you, Bales. 2 primo forwards, and I think the best thing going forward about Toogood is that she will retain that forward status. So Gardner will obviously be a midfielder next year. So having Toogood, like I wish I had that right now. And Hannah Ewing's there as well, bit of a sneaky one.
Yeah, good dynasty one.
Certainly a great dynasty prospect there. So I'll go for Skips as well.
Well, Skip can join me on the Bonnie Toogood Gold train, because I've had her there all season and she's been fantastic.
How good is that? Well, Skip, congratulations, mate, taking out pack of the week. Do we want to do a theme for next week?
I don't reckon we've ever, me and Jaiden have ever actually disagreed on the pack. I reckon we've always agreed, which is fantastic.
Yeah, I know. You guys just get along too well and just think the same. No, that's good though. Yeah.
One week we have to catch you up by surprise, Tom, and then I just say one pack, Jaiden says the other, then we've got to force you to pick.
I think maybe I need to go back and watch the first show that we did, because I think maybe we went to a tiebreaker with that one.
Did we? No, we did.
Maybe. I'll go back.
We'll have to we'll do a fact check. Yeah, we'll go back through the archives. We'll work out what it is. But congratulations, Skip, mate. I'll be contacting you on the Discord to get your packs and see maybe you can pull a couple more Laura Gardners, or maybe a Goldsworthy you want to hit me up about. I wouldn't mind that at all. So well done. But fellas, that's going to wrap us up. Thanks for taking the time out of your day. Come on the channel and talk about AFLW, the women's Aussie rules game we have on Game Day Squad. Before we go, Bales, all the lovely stuff you're doing. Where can everyone find you?
Yeah, so you can. Thanks, Tom, and thanks, Jaiden. Great, always on a Tuesday night that we record this. Obviously, you guys see it on the Wednesday. So, but you can find me at BalesDT on Twitter and Instagram, and make sure you're following AFL Fantasy Fanatics on Twitter as well, because that's where we do the Twitter Spaces. Me and Tom every Sunday night, and we try and get a guest on if we can. If not, it'll just be us two, but hopefully that is more than enough for everyone. Me and Tom chatting on a Sunday night. And then you can find me on YouTube at Truly Bars HD as well. So, yeah, make sure you're going to follow me across all those.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. And with AFL Fantasy Fanatics, I know it's a live room, but let's say you couldn't make it. You can go back and listen to it.
Yeah,
you're on the way to work, you're doing something, just play it on. You can hear us jargon about all the games. It's a good time. It's a very good time. But go show Bale some love. But Jaiden, yourself, mate, where can everyone find you on all the beautiful work you do?
Thanks, Tom. Yeah, on Twitter as well, at Jaiden_Poski. It's got everything you need from me. So, yeah, update a spreadsheet every week with everything you need for AFLW Fantasy. It's got the CBAs, kick-ins, the run home, who's giving up points, and, yeah, if you play the other formats, who's highly owned, and what's that break even. So, all of that is right there, so you can find that, and that should help you with your AFLW fantasy stuff. Or otherwise, you'll find me lurking in the GameDay Squad Discord every now and then. So hit me up with a message if you ever need anything.
Love it. Yeah, it's almost like having cheats to the test that's coming up, his little Excel spreadsheet that he made. So go show Jaiden some love on Twitter. Where can you find me at? You can find me at TommyGDS. I'm running a competition on Twitter at the moment where you can guess my team's score. I'll give you a free player card. It's currently silver Kirsty Stratton. I have a gold Bree Davey coming up, and I've been making it a little bit easier. I did ±5 points. I might also bend that again and go a little bit, extend the range, because I know it can be quite tough to get the team score. So make sure you're checking in. That'll be posted on either Thursday or Friday. And yeah, of course, do all the stuff as well on Twitter. So yeah, give us a follow, give the boys a follow. But I think now that wraps us up for another episode, and we'll catch you all in the next one. Cheers, everyone.